Have you ever been in a happy moment, then suddenly paused? Nothing happened, no one said anything, but you still felt like something was off. You start thinking something is going to go wrong. The better things feel, the more cautious you become. You don't let yourself smile for too long. You don't trust that this feeling is real. You hold a part of yourself back as if you're preparing for an ending, even though it hasn't even begun. And maybe you don't even realize it. You've gotten used to this. You don't just think this way once, you do it almost every day. You step into a good moment, then pull yourself back. You don't let your emotions go too far. You don't let yourself get too attached to anything. You always stay a little aware. Even when you're happy, you observe yourself more than you feel. You control your emotions instead of letting them happen. You are never fully inside a moment. And slowly, this becomes the way you live. If you see yourself in these patterns, maybe you're not overthinking. Maybe you've just been protecting yourself in the only way you learned, but that doesn't mean you have to live like this forever. In this video, we're going to look closer at what's really happening, why you slowly stopped trusting happiness, and why this feeling became so familiar. Not to force you to change right away, but to help you understand yourself a little more and maybe find a gentler way to stay with what is good. In the next few minutes, you'll see how your mind formed this pattern. You'll recognize the experiences that shaped you. And more importantly, you'll understand that nothing is wrong with you. You're simply responding to what you've been through. This is where the conflict begins inside you. One part of you still wants happiness. You still want to believe in good things. You still want to feel at ease like before, but another part won't allow it. It reminds you of what has happened. It pulls you back every time you start to relax. It makes you doubt even when things are okay. You want to move forward, but at the same time, you hold yourself back. You want to feel things fully, but you're afraid of the cost that comes with it. And you stay stuck in between, not fully happy, but unable to go back to who you were. So the question is, what is really happening inside you? What happens every time you start doubting happiness? Your mind does not work randomly. It learns from what has already happened. Every experience leaves a trace. When happiness is followed by loss, your brain begins to form a connection that joy does not last. Over time, that connection becomes stronger. You don't need to think, you just feel it. A very fast and natural reaction. You become cautious with good things, not because you are negative, but because you're trying to protect yourself. You lower expectations to avoid pain. You keep distance to stay in control. And slowly, you call this calmness. And this is not just your personal feeling. It has been observed in many brain studies. An analysis of over 50 fMRI studies shows that the brain processes reward and loss in similar systems, especially in areas like the amygdala and the striatum. This means your brain does not clearly separate joy and loss. It learns to link them together. Another study shows that after a stress or loss, the way the brain responds to rewards changes significantly. Things that once made you feel happy no longer feel as safe as before. In some cases, the brain can even respond negatively to positive experiences. That is why you can be in a good moment and still feel uneasy, not because you overthink, but because your nervous system has learned to stay alert. After happiness, that did not last. And usually, this does not start now. It started at a time when you truly believed. Maybe it was a relationship that felt right, a period in life when everything seemed okay. You let your guard down, you trusted completely. But then things changed. Not all at once, but enough for you to notice. What you believed in was no longer the same. Maybe it was someone leaving, maybe it was a betrayal, or simply things did not turn out as you expected. And in that moment, you learned something, not through words, but through feeling, that happiness is not always safe, that the more you trust, the more you can lose. And from that point on, you were no longer the same person. And from there, the way you live begins to change, not loudly, but very clearly. You no longer dive into emotions like before. You slow down and hold yourself back. You don't trust too quickly anymore. When things start to feel good, you no longer feel at ease. You begin to observe more. You notice the smallest changes. You read between what is not being said. You prepare for what could happen. You don't get attached too quickly. You don't let yourself depend on feelings. You always keep a part of yourself. And sometimes you leave first, not because you don't want to stay, but because you don't want to feel that again. And the hardest part is not the sadness. It is that you no longer feel safe when things are okay. You are in a good moment, but you cannot truly relax into it. There is always a part of you waiting for something to happen. You are not fully in the present. You are always slightly pulled back, as if you were never completely there. You don't fully enjoy anything, not because you don't want to, but because you can't. And over time, it becomes exhausting, always holding yourself, always staying on guard. You didn't just lose trust in happiness, you lost the feeling of being safe inside it. And maybe that is what drains you the most. Maybe you don't need to trust happiness right now, and you don't need to force yourself to change. Maybe the first step is much simpler, to allow yourself to stay a little longer, to stay in a moment that feels okay, even when you still feel uneasy, even when a part of you wants to pull back. You don't need to be sure it will last. You don't need to know what comes next. You just need to not leave too quickly, because not every good moment ends the way it once did. That is not reality. That is memory trying to protect you. And maybe over time, as you stay a little longer each time, the feeling of safety will return, not loudly, not all at once, but enough for you to notice that you don't need to fully trust happiness. You just need to stop running from it. And if you've made it this far, maybe you don't feel so unfamiliar with yourself anymore. Maybe you understand a little more about how you feel things and why you are this way. If this resonates with you, you don't need to say anything. Just know that you are not the only one. And if you want to understand yourself better, step by step, in a gentler way, you can subscribe to the channel for more videos. This is Mind Healing, a space where we explore human psychology. I'll see you in the next video. Have a new day